Hey guys, Steve Unger here. Thanks for jumping in to another edition of the Dabbling Angler. The last video that I did for you guys, I was out fishing with the Inu Rig, and really something that's very new to me, very new to a lot of people. Wasn't really sure if I had rigged it properly, wasn't really sure how to fish it. A couple things I was just kind of uncertain about. One thing I was certain about though, that I know that was a largemouth, not a smallmouth. For those of you guys that don't know what I'm referencing, I'll put a link to the video. I was trying to have a little bit of fun. Some folks that watched that video, I guess they didn't really think I was being funny. But that's okay. Everybody's free to their opinion. But just wanted to get with you today and really kind of talk a little bit about how to fish that, what I did, and what I realized that I needed to do. So one mistake that I made, and I'm going to grab here one of my worms and kind of show you a little bit of something that I did that I didn't realize I did wrong. But then after watching some other videos and really kind of thinking about what I did and what I experienced, one thing that I did incorrectly is I rigged this where I went in at a 90-degree angle into the worm. And really what you need to be doing is going into that worm more on a 30-degree angle with the first two riggings, and then, or the first two penetrations, for lack of a better term. And then on the third one, I think that can be more perpendicular, more on a 90-degree angle. And then ultimately what you're trying to do is you're trying to skewer this worm to where it's on this, and what I'm using is a coffee stirrer. It's on as in an S, more along the lines of this. So I'm going to go ahead and get that going for you guys, but I want to talk to you a little bit about getting what you need in place. I came from a little bit of a restaurant background. I think a lot of us probably have worked in restaurants at some point in time. If you haven't, I'm a firm believer that everybody should for at least 6 months. But one thing that you learn is to have everything in place before you're ready to go. So things that you're going to need. You're going to need a worm. I like this trick worm. It's long enough, it's fat enough, but there's some other worms that we're going to try today. You need crazy glue, which I didn't have when I started this video, so I had to stop and restart. So some sort of crazy glue, super glue, something that you can glue your tubing in. And I reference tubing. Those of you guys that shop at a certain store will recognize this packaging from them. I'm using coffee stirs as my tubing. Number one, because I know that this bait's going to get bit and this is going to get tore up, and I don't want to spend a ton of money on my supplies. And that is certainly something that works. It's easy to cut, and at the end of the day, it gets the job done, and it gets the job done quick and cheap. You're also going to need a hook, which I like using, or I've kind of landed on these drop shot hooks, size 1, Chris Zaldain. That's what I'm using. I'm not advertising these hooks in particular, but I think that style of hook works. And let's see here, you're going to need some scissors, and you're going to need some line. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm repurposing some, I think this is mono, stretches like mono. This is some mono that I got bird's nested, and I've kept it, for just different things, different riggings, and we're going to use this because ultimately you're going to end up with a leader. This is going to be a leader that you're going to tie on, or what I've done is tied on to my main line, whether that be fluorocarbon line or a braid. I think I was fishing with braid the other day, and that seemed to work just fine. So going to need some line, going to need those hooks. You're going to need some split rings. So again, I don't think we need to spend a ton of money on split rings. So Bass Pro Shops, I picked up some split rings. We're going to use that, and then I think for the basics of this, that's all you need. Now, I did ask my wife for some help. 30-degree angle. So I had her Google a 30-degree angle, and I have a template for that. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to show you guys kind of what we're doing here. So don't necessarily need to get that glue ready just yet. So the first thing we're going to do, and I'm going to turn this camera around. So 30 degrees, right? So what we're going to do, your first step with this is coffee stir. In order to get the right penetration, I'm going to cut it on the bias and get more of a point to it, make it a little easier to get in that worm. And then I'm going to take this worm and follow that 30 degrees, try to get myself right in the center of that worm. You want to be in the fat part of that worm for sure. And it's about 30 degrees, and we're going to go right in and through. Okay, now next thing we're going to do is we want to get in again, and I'm going to go just on the other side of this egg sac. And what we want to do, and this can be a little more challenging, is I want to go 30 degrees again. So we're going to go and we're going to try to get to the fat part of this worm. Push that through. All right, so now we're almost done as far as the skewering goes. And finally, this one doesn't matter as much. We just want to make sure that we're not twisting. And we want to get this guy in, again, in the fat part of the worm. So when we're done, that's what it should look like. Now, what we're going to do from this point on is we're going to push it back through. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to this is where the crazy glue comes in. Go ahead and open this up. And you're just going to put just a little bit on here. You don't need to put a ton on there. And you're just going to slide that guy up just a little bit. Okay? Just enough. Hopefully that stayed in. And then we're going to go again here. We're going to slide that up just a touch, just to get that in there. And then finally, this one. Okay. So same thing, just a touch of that glue. Doesn't need a ton of it. And slide that up. Now, maybe a little too, yeah, now see I'm stuck. There we go. Perfect. So now we're going to let this sit and dry. It's not going to take a ton of time to dry, but we want it to dry before we start cutting. And if you want to know why we want to dry before we start cutting, these are the scissors the last time that I did the rig. And that is all glue that's in my scissors. So let's go ahead and let's do another one of these while we're waiting for that one to dry. So what we can do is get another worm, get another one of our trick worms, and now they say to start on the flat side. I'm not sure. I mean, I guess it makes sense. Not sure if it matters if you start on the fat side or the flat side, but you know, it seems that works just fine. So let's go ahead and get another piece of coffee stir. And again, let's get our 30-degree template out. I know this may seem a little goofy to some of you guys, but for me, I am not Mr. Mechanical. So we're going to get that straightened up, 30 degrees, and straight down through. Okay, back up and around. Again, let's get this guy, let's try to come in 30 degrees on him, so we're going to try to come through that way. Alright. And then finally, let's go, and again, here it doesn't necessarily need to be on an angle. I'm going to put that in there. Alright, so here, I don't know if you can see this, hopefully you can. I didn't get completely in the middle there, and I'm concerned that we might get a little split, but we're still going to let that roll. And we're going to go here. That's the basics of it. Now, what I want to do is I want to bring another worm into the mix. So, as you guys know, and hopefully you gather from the title of my channel, Dabbling Angler, I'm willing to try different things, dabble in a few different things. So now what I want to do is I want to figure out the old monster, the ribbon tail. Again, another zoom worm. I like the zoom worms for a couple of reasons. Number one, they're not super expensive, right? Get them most everywhere, and they get bit. Caught some really nice fish off of these. So here we're going to do here now. Don't have really, well, I do. It's not as a pronounced flat side, but I have a flat side. So first step, straw on a bias. Get that over here. 30-degree angle. Try to be in the middle as much as I can. Okay, now with this one, we got to get 3 in before we get to the tail. So this might be a little tighter. And again, what we're trying to do, get our template back down there. You guys can laugh and joke and tease and make as much fun as you want, but I think that's going to be the thing that's going to save me. So if I've got this coming this way, there we go, pretty good in the middle. Get him up a little bit, and then finally, again, trying not to twist, let's go ahead and let's hit this guy right about there. Alright, so that is going to have a completely different look than this. So I'm pretty excited about the way that that looks. Let's go ahead and we're going to cut some of that off. Now with this one, next step, right, glue. Now the last one that I want to try, you guys know that I get some of that mystery tackle box stuff from time to time, and Biospawn, if you watch me, you know Biospawn is a favorite of mine. So got a plasma tail. We're going to try this guy out also. And this one, really, we don't have really a flat side on, so it's not going to really matter. Our straw bias, 30-degree angle in the middle. Yep, pretty good. No egg sac here. I'm going to try to go 30-degree angle this way. finally, again, kind of like that trick worm, same style. We're going to find a fat part, so we're going to actually get more down here by this tail. Alright. I think that's going to be a really cool look, to be honest with you guys. We're all set there. Hopefully, what we have now is hopefully we've got some dried specimens here. So what we're going to do here is we're going to now, really all you do is cut these. I've got scissors that I already have glue all over, so if they're not dry, we're going to go ahead. We'll go ahead and do this. And what you got to do, you see here, you got to get as close to that worm as you can without cutting the worm. Okay. And finally, there, and right about here. All right, so now you got a worm that has 3 holes in it with some, for lack of a better term, tubing. At that point, now we're ready to go. So let's go ahead and get this stuff a little bit out of the way. We're going to go into our next step, which is the actual stringing of this bait. So let's grab our line. Again, I'm not 100% that it matters. And we're going to grab, oh, I had a drop shot hook out already. We're going to grab one of these drop shot hooks. Try not to stick yourself. Alright, and now, here's what you're trying to do. You are threading this line through the hook like this. Okay, open end of the hook, and then once you've got that situated, what you're trying to do, what you're going to do is you're going to bring this through. Okay, and really what we're going to end up with is this hook will, we want it to be here, okay? So it's going to look like this. So what we want to do is we want to skin this. Now in the video, I told you that I had skin hooked it basically through zoom, but you can see this one, I'm a little above it. So we're going to go here and just skin hook it best that you can. Try not to be on an angle. And voila, your holes line up. Now, what you've got, lay this down so maybe you can see it a little better. You've got that hole, and we're going to pull this line through. And you've got this bottom hole, and we're going to pull this line through. Again, do what we can to not twist. Alright, trying to get straight through there. Now, we're almost done. Now we've got this set up. Now we're ready for our split ring. I am going to use this size 2 split ring. Again, I'm not 100% convinced that it matters the size, but I don't want to use a big one. So I figured size 2 is pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and tie this guy on real quick. So I'm not going to get super complicated with it. I'm just going to do a real quick uni knot. Tied this right. We've got this rigged properly, which I think we have. So as that split ring gets pulled, it's going to pull that bait. So that is what we've got so far, right? And that's going to swim. And you guys, I'm sure, have seen all the videos of these things swimming. So I don't think we're going to spend a ton of time swimming this thing. But that is your basic on that. Now, I'm going to do something a little different. I told you I was going to do something a little different. Got another one of these guys, so let's go ahead and get him cut off. I'm not going to tie this on just yet. What I'm going to do before I tie it is I am going to add a stinger on here. And this is just a size 4 plain shank. Alright guys, so now what we did is I got my split ring, and I've got a size 4 plain shank on here. And now we're going to tie, again, we're going to tie this guy on just like we did the last one. Nothing real different. Now, the thing that we're going to do a little different here, I'm going to try to do, is I'm going to bring this guy back down here to this line, and we're going to just try and Texas rig that hook. Okay, so it should come through here, and this hook should, so we're going to skin again just above zoom. Just above zoom on this, and now voila, now I have, again, we got that same pull. Alright, so that's 2 done. So guys, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing with the rest of these. I'm going to go ahead and put a stinger on each one of these. I'm going to put a stinger on one of these, keep one of these normal, and we're going to go ahead and wrap that up. Alright guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap up for tonight. I'm not going to bore you with me continuing to rig those. I think you kind of get the idea. I am excited about running that stinger hook. I think it's going to be something that can definitely increase that hookup ratio. So I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of these rigged, and my next video, it will be, I will fish with this again, with this rig one more time. Not sure if I'm going to head to the same place as the last one or if I'm going to try a different spot, but I will certainly give this a go, and we'll see if that hookup ratio doesn't increase with that stinger hook. Again guys, really appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Thumbs up, leave a comment. And until next time, you all take care. Bye.